Just kidding.
We are live and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On tonight's show, we're going to give you 15 must-know nuggets from each and every game in Week 6. And with me, back again, multiple weeks in a row, he is my co-host. He is none other than the man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair, buddy. I like that shirt.
Just repping the Hoosiers, man. I got
The
a
who
buddy
Hoosiers.
I went to high school with. He's one of the strength and conditioning coaches for Indiana football. They played at Kinnick Stadium a couple hours away from me a week or two ago. Had to go out, support the guy. Unfortunately, he asked me if I wanted a shirt or a hoodie, and I'm a hoodie guy. So I said I wanted a hoodie, and if you've been to Iowa at any point in your life, no matter what month it is, you are always at risk for 95-degree weather. So the only Indiana gear I had was this hoodie. It was 95 degrees, sweating my balls off. But Randall, that's a story for a different podcast on a different day. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just realized I set the Twitter stream up on the Player Profiler Now Plus Twitter as opposed to just the Player Profiler. That's my bad. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. So every Tuesday, doesn't matter. You'll get it the audio version. You can get the YouTube version, many a version that you can get to. But we're not going to waste any time because tonight we don't have any time to waste. No preamble. I love that my man Kirk Signetti kicked the ever-loving shit out of those Oregon Ducks. I'm not even an IU football fan. I went to Ball State, of all places. My kid goes to Cincinnati. My wife went to Ball State. But it's good to see the in-state teams doing well. Maybe Indiana, once formerly known as a basketball state, could be the next football state. Last year we had Notre Dame and Indiana in the college tournament. Maybe 2 years in a row. Don't know. But we're going to mix it up. We're going to do something a little bit different before the commercial break. We're going to do good people, bad tweets, because when Jerry is an active pre-show participant, I like to reward that behavior, as the guy who puts the show together. When Jerry sees something and it strikes a chord, I'm going to do it. And this is from a repeat offender, Jerry. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
It is fair to say. It is fair to say it is from a repeat offender. And if you go to Fantasy Receipts, we love Fantasy Receipts. Their pinned tweet right now is one of his trades. It's where he gave up Devon Achane and Puka Nacua and something else for a 26 first. And he very cavalierly, arrogantly said, "We collect random firsts." Buddy, you better get Thanos for what you gave up. You gave up arguably the wide receiver one overall in all of Dynasty Startup, a top 5 running back, and a third piece that I don't remember off the top of my head for a random. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the air quotes, I feel like Dr. Evil, random 2026 first, but he's back. Our old buddy, David J. Galtieri at Guru Fantasy World, he's back. And David said, "Have seen what I need to see. All in on Jackson Dart, in parentheses, QB needy contender." And he be shipping Joe Go Burr. And in return, he got Jackson Dart. Now, Jerry, you've seen this and you felt the urge, the need, the desire to make sure that I saw it so we could discuss it and go.
Not so much me coming on here to berate this man, which we have done on numerous occasions. It was more a question, Randall. Now, in the tweet, he said he was a contender, I think, a QB needy contender. How far off is it in Randy's world? Because you're a Jackson Dart guy. Like, you are on the train for Jackson Dart. And if you have Joe Burrow, obviously you have Joe Burrow in a higher tier than Jackson Dart. But my man doesn't play. So what are you willing to do?
Well, several things. First of all, surprise, I haven't even told you yet. Next week, to kind of break up the monotony of doing the game by game thing, plus we'll be going into week 8. It's the midpoint of the fantasy regular season, not the NFL regular season, but the midpoint of the fantasy. You get through week 7, if you play in a standard, what we think is a good league, your playoffs should start week 15. So next week we'll be at the midpoint. We're going to do rankings the next 2 weeks. So either next week we'll do all 4 positions with me or Jerry. Maybe more than likely we'll do quarterbacks and running backs next week. We'll come back the week after and we'll do wide receivers and tight ends or some combination thereof. And I don't think Jackson Dart's going to be that far off. This is the kind of trade that I'm not going to beat him up. I mean, at least not over this. It's not far off. Here's my concern about Jackson Dart, Jerry. What have you seen that makes this close? Is it just because I like Jackson Dart? If I had a vote for a pair of teammates that I would want to hang out with in the NFL, you are going to be hard pressed to find 2 guys that I would rather hang out with more than Cam and Jackson. But what makes this close for you?
I mean, a first and maybe a little sprinkling. If you want me to be honest with you, we've seen Joe Burrow play at an MVP level. Now, I understand that he gets injured, and I understand that that doesn't help you score points. But we have seen Jackson Dart play 2 games. We don't know if he's 3 games. Sorry, Randy's correcting me. 3 games. So we don't exactly know how long he can stay on the field. We don't know the longevity of him. And also, while it has been fun and it has been wonderful and it has looked good for somebody that's in their first 3 games, we've seen Joe Burrow perform at the highest of tiers. I still need to see Jackson Dart move up a couple of tiers before I'm even in that conversation, injury history for Joe Burrow or not. In no world should you make this trade. Even if you are the biggest fan of Jackson Dart and you are the largest of haters for Joe Burrow, because you are just flushing value down the toilet.
I disagree. This goes back to the trade we talked about a while ago. There is a premium. Jerry, for scoring points when it's point scoring season. And just a little trivia for you, because you maybe didn't look. Since he was named the starter in week 4, Jackson Dart is QB what? He is currently QB what in weeks 4, 5, and 6 combined?
You tell me.
No. You have to guess. This is your baby.
13.
How about 9? He's QB 9 over the last 4 weeks. Here's my concern. His career high in passing was 202 yards. He's getting it done with his legs. He has averaged 56 yards rushing per game,
and
he scored a touchdown.
Phenomenal, Randy. But here's the thing that worries me about that. Have you watched Jackson Dart run?
That's my fear.
He doesn't run like he's trying to survive.
He's been to the medical tent twice.
So he can run through a motherfucker's face, which is awesome. And it makes me and everybody else get very excited for you. But at some point, you are going to run into one of the mega humans that play in the NFL, and they are going to send you into the shadow realm.
First of all, good use of the shadow realm. Yeah, that's my concern. Hopefully someone can get in his ear. I like that. I like people that inspire their teammates. I'll know more because we're going to do our rankings in the next 7 days, and we'll come back. I do think he'll be a QB1. He's doing it without Malik Neighbors. I think Jackson Dart is the truth. And again, the phrase that pays, QB needy team. If you're a QB needy team, if you have any smarts about you at all, you are dragging a QB needy fellow GM across the coals if you're not contending, because there's value. You should be getting everything you possibly can. A good friend of ours, Tyler Orginski, did I get that right?
You nailed it.
Like top 5 ranked in Fantasy Pros. He's like, in this house, we love Jackson Dart. Watch them add a wide receiver. You know what I like about Jackson Dart, and I could say the same thing for Drake May, and I don't want to ruin next week. They're putting up fantasy points without their weapons. Now, in Dart's case, he doesn't have Malik Neighbors. He'll get Malik Neighbors back. Drake May's doing it with the corpse of Stephon Diggs, Pop Douglas, and Hunter Henry. And that dude's balling out. So normally we would take this opportunity to kick the absolute dog shit out of David Galtieri, but I didn't think it was bad. I think this is the kind of move you can make. And if you're not sure of this 3-game sample size, very small sample, of Jackson Dart, but this is the kind of guy you can go get. And you can use this trade as a reference point. Is that fair?
It is a reference point.
So I want to give a shout out to Cameron Myers. Cameron Myers is one of our patrons. He's in the YouTube chat. Cam, what's up? Cam and I probably talk 1 to 3 times a week. One of the people who takes full advantage of being a member over at patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. And if your Dynasty team is injury riddled, as a lot of them are, maybe you could use something different. Maybe you could use Quick Six.
Pour one out for an incredible best ball season. It was a breakout 2025 for Fast Draft, but now the NFL action has started. That means it's DFS season. That's right. You might think, oh, wow, DFS, I can't win DFS. Oh, but you can on Fast Draft. You just pick any 6 guys, and you put them in a handful of booster spots. There's no salary rubric you have to follow. You're not going up against thousands of killer bots in these tournaments. Oh, no. These are regular people grabbing their 6 favorite plays of the week, and that's all you have to do. And we post the ownership so that you can choose how much chalk you want. There is no drafting. It's called the Quick Six Super Slam. The Quick Six Super Slam is the signature DFS contest at Fast Draft. It is changing DFS. We are making DFS great again. So go to fastdraft.app and use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. And let's go start drafting faster.
I do love a good Podfather promo. And I don't know if they named that after me. You know, I've given a few Quick Six power slams in my day, but use that promo code. The promo code is WarZone, all caps, all one word. Get you a dollar for dollar match up to $50. You plug in the code, you just start drafting. And the multiplier makes it a ton of fun. Check that out. I got to go to Cincinnati this week. As a person who does not live in a state where Fast Draft is eligible, I literally write down my lineups on a piece of paper. I go over and see my son, and while I'm waiting for him to come out of his dorm, I can knock out 6 to 10 Fast Draft quick sixes in like 5 minutes. It's great. I've done my work. I just got to have the legality, Jerry.
You're a psychopath.
Dude, I love it. It is the funnest thing. I love the sweat. Check that out. But Jerry, we moved good people, bad tweets up early because we got 15 games. 15 games this week, Jerry. And first one, speaking of Jackson Dart, speaking of the Giants, you got Thursday Night Football. You got Eagles and Giants.
I mean, I had 2 things. Jackson Dart was one of them, but then I found David Galtieri's tweet earlier. So we already talked about that. Saquon Barkley is a sell for a 1. Any first.
I've been saying this all season, my brother.
I agree, but I was holding out hope. Usually, if you sell an aged running back for a first plus, you're gonna profit. But Saquon was just so good last year. I wanted to hold out a little bit to see what we got. Selling him for a 1. Not saying that he can't absolutely win you your league this year. Not wrong. In most situations, in most roster constructions, selling Saquon Barkley for a first is just good process. We're to the point where it is just not as effective as it once was. That offense is not as effective as it once was. They are all aging. No, thank you. I'm not out on the business because he's still a talented guy. He's obviously still awesome, but no, thank you, Randall.
I've just been saying he's going to be 29 in February.
Yeah.
You know, I think, and I know, I don't have to think, I know Derrick Henry is an all-time outlier from a health perspective, a size perspective, the way he's aged perspective. And it's not like Saquon's killing you. He's a RB1 right now. Mm-hmm. He is the RB12. But it is good process. Let me ask you a question. Let's go from a guy that's as crazy as it is to say, maybe 2 good years left this year and next year. One thing I will caution you guys, and I'm not going to jump into it because it'll grind the show to a halt, but throw in the curse of 370 touches for running backs in ChatGPT. Just ask ChatGPT, what is the curse of running backs getting 370 touches? You will literally shit your pants. And then you'll look at Derrick Henry last year. You'll look at Saquon Barkley this year, and you'll be like, holy shit, it's a thing. And this will go back a few decades for you. Yeah. And then if you have a running back this year, Jonathan Taylor feels like he's on pace for 370. The offseason is going to be a great time to consider moving a guy like that. What are you doing with Cam Scatabo? I love him. I absolutely love him. I would adopt him. He's not very big. He's not very fast. I will tell you this. He is. You would be hard pressed to name 3 other players that are more fun to watch play football than Cam. Okay, but that style at his size and his athleticism, he's putting the NFL in not for long. He'll get away with it. I'm still selling him for any first. And now, if you're contending and you got him dirt cheap, ride the wave, brother.
Yeah, 100%.
Ride the wave, sister. You do your thing. But if you're like in the middle of the road, or you just got decimated by the Puka injury, maybe you got Puka and someone else over the course of the weekend, and you're in really bad shape, and you are already 2-4, and you can get out of him for a first. Fun to watch. Love him in seasonal. Kind of guy I'm rooting for. Not highly drafted. But man, from a dynasty perspective, I was the guy who was right on James Robinson, and then I got it wrong because I held too long. So love Cam the dude. I can't hang on to him forever, Jer.
I agree with you. And I think that's an unpopular opinion just because the narrative around him right now is that he's so fun, right? Like he's got the aura, he's got the vibe, he's got the juice, he's got all of it.
I will say,
deservedly so.
I will say, if I was going to lose with a guy on my roster, at least it's Cam.
Hey,
and you know what? I've always said this. You're allowed to have one guy on your roster that maybe you overpaid for or you held too long, but you just have him because you really, really like him. Can't, especially given what you paid for him, you're not going to get hurt hanging on to him forever. I got the Broncos and the Jets. Man, what do we have against the country of England? What we are constantly sending them dog shit after dog shit after dog shit game.
Try taxing RT one more time. This is what you get.
This is what happens. You tax RT, you get the Broncos and the Jets, 13-11.
That was the worst game
It was horrible
in my life.
And they're over there. The problem is they have the internet now over there in London, and they know what good football actually is. But my takeaway from this is I am happily buying Breece Hall right now at his current cost. Probably going somewhere around 8 to 10 in dynasty rankings. I don't have player profiler put up. But here's the thing. He's still doing okay. He's not hurting you. He's averaging 12 PPR points per game. And that's in spite of not finding the end zone one time.
Which is crazy.
And he's going to be one of the most sought-after players on the trade deadline. Allegedly, he's already been connected to a couple of teams. Don't let it be the Chiefs. And I know it break Bill fans everywhere heart. Don't let it be the Commanders. There are some good spots. And you know what? Whether he gets traded in November, because the deadline's November 4th, or he signs a free agent deal somewhere in the offseason, I know what I pay today is going to be less than what I would have to pay in mid-November if he gets traded in a couple weeks, or what he's going to be worth come April 1st when he signs a big free agent deal with another team. And he will be the youngest free agent in the running back class. He'll barely be 25. So you're talking about a guy that you can easily get 3.5, 4 seasons out of. It depends on how his injuries go. And let's be honest, you get 3 years out of any dynasty asset, especially a running back, you're doing great. So buy him today. You're going to get an instant equity boost in either 3 weeks or 6 months. One or the other. You're going to get one. He's not going to be a Jet forever. And you know what? This would hurt a lot of people's feelings. I would love it if he stayed in New York City and became the Lightning to Cam's Thunder. Try to mix up and do what the Lions have done with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, because that would extend the life of both guys. Jerry, as a Lions fan, do you think Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery's careers are going to be elongated because they're teammates and they're working together? I think it will.
Hell yeah.
So, man, if Brees winds up in a situation like that, I would absolutely love it. And Jerry, I'm going to throw it to you. You have Dolphins and Chargers.
Cool. I am selling Kamani Vidal for any second I can get. I understand that man did well. And also, Dart is the Scatabo of QBs. That's a perfect explanation of that situation. But Kamani Vidal is only relevant because we saw Najee Harris's Achilles snap live on TV. And then we saw Omarion Hampton go down and go onto the IR. At some point, Omarion Hampton is coming back, and Kamani Vidal will go back to being absolutely 100% irrelevant. You have a small window to extract value from this man. You need to do it now. There is no situation where you are not going to benefit by just getting the pick. Get the two. Even if you're a contender, it doesn't matter. We are at the least important part of point scoring season when it comes to standings. Yes, there's a chance that if you are a contender, you might lose an extra game or two. But if you are actually a contender, you're going to make the playoffs. Take the L, gain the value, get rid of Kamani Vidal, and do it quickly before he sits and rots and turns to mold and starts to stink up your roster.
You know what the difference between Kamani Vidal and a bucket of shit is? The bucket.
The bucket.
No, I'm just kidding. But Kamani Vidal could be 2025's Isaac Gurindo. There's a guy who comes along. He has some value. You would probably get a nicer haul if this was going on weeks 14, 15, 16, 17.
For sure.
Because you would be in the fantasy playoffs. Although I did hear Omarion Hampton's ankle is going to be more than the 4-game minimum for IR, which is okay. If Omarion Hampton comes back in 6 weeks and it's week 13, week 12, somewhere in there, and he gets up to speed nicely, and all of a sudden he's a locomotive in weeks 14, 15, 16, 17 for the fantasy playoffs, I'm in. But yeah, if you have someone who's treading water, maybe they're treading water because of Bucky, it's like, don't be a dick, give them like a third. Send them Kamani in a third for a second. Everybody wins there. That's an easy one. Jerry, I'm gonna go Seahawks Jaguars. Look who decided to show up in 2025. How about Brian Thomas Jr.? 8 for 90, little tutty, and had them alligator arms going across the middle of the field. I'm telling you, I don't have my soundboard hooked up because, again, the technology is the same, but I have like my personal setup, and then there's the player profiler family setup. I'm operating on the family setup, but Brian Thomas Jr. got a little hoe in him. I don't hear no dog in him. I'm still getting out of the Brian Thomas Jr. business. And here we go. It's boring. Everybody hates it. Everybody hates him. I think it's the hair. I truly believe it's the hair. But you look up and here comes Trevor Lawrence. What do you know? QB 15 on the season. Steady Eddie. And over the course of his last 2 games, 27 points, 21 points. He's getting more familiar with this offense, getting more guys involved. I'm telling you, Trevor Lawrence, you're going to look up in January and you're going to be like, well, shit, he's a QB1. Yeah, I know. It's boring. He drives you crazy. And Jerry, you know who else is a QB1?
Who's that?
You know who has the highest yards per attempt in the NFL?
Who is it?
Do you know who's like the number 1 rated in EPA, QBR, PFF, all of the alphabets?
Spit it out.
Sammy Darnold. And then today, I forget, it wasn't a fantasy guy. It was a film guy. It wasn't Greg Cosell, but someone like that. They were talking about how he can do a 7-step drop in the year of our Lord 2025. I'm like, yeah, this is what happens when you have a QB who can play under center. A quarterback who can play under center and run legit play action, not as good as Peyton Manning, but not bad. It's a cheat code in 2025. So many of these quarterbacks have to come out and they have to play in shotgun Jackson Dart, case in point. And I remember having to hear all off season about how by midseason, here comes Jalen Milroe. He had one touch this year, it was a fucking fumble. Get out of here. If you still have non-believers in your league, non-believers, Sam Darnold is going to be a borderline QB1. He's currently QB11 on the season, steady Eddie, and just a guy that you're going to pay QB 25, 26 prices for overall. I'm talking QB overall, and just a guy that's going to give you QB 8 to 10, 12 return on that investment every year. If you like scoring points and don't mind the ginger Jesus, go get Sam Darnold, Jerry.
No, I got plenty of Sam Darnold. Thank you, Randall. Bless your sweet heart.
You're welcome, but you're not going to thank me for this next thing because you have the double R, you have the alliteration, you have the Rams Ravens.
Yeah, I don't actually have tons for this game.
I had a little bit for you. I was wondering if you did because this game's ugly. What are you doing with Puka right now? I mean,
let him sit in my pocket.
You're not doing. You're just going to let that. You're just going to let him. You're not. You're. This is good to hear, because so many people are like, "What are you doing with Puka?" I'm like, nothing.
Yeah, no.
You're going to. Here's what I tell those people. I mean, worst case scenario, what? It's a high ankle. You're going to do what you did with CeeDee Lamb. That's why Puka. Shout out Brittany.
You're going to lose a couple games. Life sucks.
Is what. And I think next week's their bye anyway.
Yeah,
because they're in jolly old England. It's fine. You know what was funny though, because it's an ankle. Does it seem odd to you that whose job did Puka Nacua take in LA with the Rams?
Are you setting me up for Cooper Kupp?
It's Cooper Kupp. And what was Cooper Kupp's injuries of choice with his time as a Ram?
The same.
It was ankles. It was ankles. Now, I'm not saying there's a corollary between the Sean McVay.
That turf, man.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying. It was the first thing I thought of on Sunday when they said it was an ankle. It wasn't the turf because they were in Baltimore for this game. But yeah, this game's ugly, man.
No, I mean Derrick Henry showed back up, which is cool. But like, I feel like I talk about Derrick Henry all the time, so I don't need to do that. The running backs in LA are just yip-de-doo.
Kyron Williams.
He's just Chase Brown, but a little bit better. That's what he'll always be to me.
All right. I somehow I wound up with the Colts again. And
I mean, you deserve it. They've been atrocious the last couple of years.
You know, kind of the same. Not a ton to take away from this game. But man, that Cardinals team is a mess.
Yeah.
I guess I would steal your take on Kamani Vidal, and I would just instantly copy and paste it on Bam Knight. Going to be fine for a handful of games. We don't know how long Trey Benson. I heard 4 to 6 weeks. He had the small version of a meniscus. You know, every injury is small when it doesn't happen to you. Yeah, but not a ton. I still love the Colts. With the exception of Tyler Warren, my concern was always everyone's going to, have a different week in this offense. Some games are going to be a Michael Pittman game. Some games are going to be a Josh Downs game. Tyler Warren, though, he seems to be bulletproof. This is what you love to see in Dynasty. You love to see your first-round pick, and it's the complete opposite of what we've seen with Colston Loveland. You want to see a guy taken in the first round, and you want to see the GM and the coaching staff and the quarterback have a clear, concise plan to implement this guy. I'm going to talk about Colston Loveland when we get later in this game, but not a whole lot to take from this one. But you have the Cowboys and the Panthers, and I think I know who you're going to talk about.
Well, there's two people that I could talk about. Brother, here, what the hell do you want to do with Rico Dowdle, Randall?
I mean,
I'm asking you that question because here's the thing. I told you to sell Kamani Vidal, who had a really good game. I told you to sell him immediately. I don't know that I'm going to tell you to sell Rico Dowdle immediately. And it's not just because he did it back to back. The issue is he doesn't have Omari and Hampton peeking at him from the sideline. He got nobody really. Like Chuba Hubbard, sure. But if before the season I said Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard will split carries, what is the likelihood of that? How crazy would that be? Would that be egregious? Not a damn one of you would have suggested it was. Because who thinks Chuba Hubbard is really awesome? Like, I like Chuba. I have quite a bit of Chuba.
I'm a big Chuba. I'm a big Chuba
That's what
guy.
I'm saying. But he's not like set your pants on fire awesome. Like, he's a body that just happens to be there.
He got the contract extension. I'll be curious because I mentioned
fine contract extension.
I mentioned Brees Hall earlier, free agent. By the way, this free agent class, and now's the time. We'll start doing that a little bit later in the season. We'll start looking at, who's upcoming free agents, who can land where. Rico's on a 1-year deal, and I could see several teams being interested in him.
Let's play a game. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to play a little situational game, Randy. You are 5-1. You're 6-0. You're 4-2. You're a good team. You're sitting pretty. Maybe you've had CeeDee Lamb hurt, and that's why you're 4-2. But you're a little weak at running back, and you want to go for Rico Dowdle. What are you paying?
I will. Hopefully, he's on a non-contender. And I'm going to waive a shiny contender second for Rico and your non-contender's third. Because I'm smart enough to know that the difference between my contender's second, which will be the 210 to 212, for your non-contender's third is going to be the 302 to 304. Yeah, I'll gladly, on paper, give a second and get a third, but I'm just sliding back 6-8 picks. Who cares? And it's, like you said, you wouldn't bend over and pick up a third-round pick if it fell out of your pocket. No. I will just say this: Rico Dowdle, if you're going to acquire him right now, you're in no trouble. We have seen this for years in the NFL. And I always go back to Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Most recently, Gibbs and Montgomery. If a backfield is split correctly, both guys can eat. And I do believe. Because Rico Dowdle, love him, he can't handle 35 touches a week like he has the last 2 weeks. Now, does he get 20 touches? And instead of getting 33 points a game, which he's been doing the last 2 weeks, does he get you 17? I don't know about you. I have a lot of room in my rosters, in my lineups, especially if I'm contending for players putting up 15 to 17 points. And it's not like calf injuries go away, Jerry.
No, they don't. And just one more caveat, because it's a pretty big name in the game right now. George Pickens. Randy, I'm going to sound sacrilegious when I say this, but I'm selling George Pickens. CeeDee Lamb is a god amongst men, and he has had a rapport with Dak Prescott for the better part of a decade. And you can shake your head all you want, but George Pickens is about to be second fiddle.
You can say that all you want. I do not care. Now, if you want to sell George Pickens in the offseason, I'm with you. First of all, it's not like guys coming off of high ankle sprains that's come back and set the world on fire. That's first of all.
I don't disagree, but once I get to the playoffs and he's had a couple of weeks of being fine, guess who's back? Daddy's home.
Guess who's back? Back again. So Dak currently is averaging about 40 attempts a game. And again, George Pickens currently wide receiver 4 on the season. So so what happens? He falls to wide receiver 12. We cut 25% off of his production. Great. You could cut 25% off of Jake Ferguson's production, and he's still the tight end 1. This offense is going to be so good, and this defense is going to be so bad. What you want to do is you want to sell George Pickens in the offseason.
I disagree. I think he is going to take a hit when CeeDee Lamb comes back, and that production's going to dip, and everybody's going to forget about this. And he's going to be the same exact George Pickens that he's always been.
I am not buying that for 1 second.
While everybody can look at that pretty number 4 next to his name, and I can go, how old is George Pickens? He's probably like 25. Like, he's young. I'm pretty sure he was young when he came out.
I got you. He's 24. He'll be 25 in the. He's also a free agent.
24 years old, wide receiver number 4, 6 weeks into the season. Randy, that gets me 2 firsts. Do you think George Pickens is worth 2 firsts?
You are drunk. You are drunk and disorderly. You've been in Grandpa's coffee.
24-year-old wide receiver who's the wide receiver
nobody's giving you 2 firsts.
Randy, you are talking about Georgia fans. You're talking about Cowboys fans. You are going to tell me they don't exist? You're out of your mind.
I mean,
because you wouldn't do it because you don't have a dick for brains doesn't mean that other people will not do that.
If you can get 2 firsts, yes, sell him now. But you're not going to. You're going to be lucky to get a first plus. And you know what? What you get today is not going to be much different than what you're going to get in the offseason. He's potentially a free agent. He's 24 years old.
Which is worse for him.
And he's in a contract year. He is not going to stop the attempt at balling out. Absolutely not. He is going to be T. Higgins from last year. He's going to have his breakout year. What was wrong with T. Higgins last year? I'm not saying T. Higgins for a career.
He scored a bunch of touchdowns. He is T. Higgins. He's got a PR firm. That's all he's got.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for playing along. Of course I know he's T. Higgins. I said he was T. Higgins. Yes, thank you. But T. Higgins last year had a really good year. And you know what? He got paid. And you know what? T. Higgins averaged 19 points a game last year. And you know what happened? The offense fell apart this year. I'm going to ride the Dallas Cowboys wave this year. If I'm contending, middle of the pack, want to contend, I am not moving off T. Higgins, George Pickens. They should start a bowling
Same
team.
Guys.
You're crazy. You're absolutely drunk and disorderly. I'm moving on. Patriots Saints. I have a 2-parter. I will give you a spoiler alert. Jackson Dart, Memphis's QB3. Write that down for next week. And then I got to be honest. I doubted this feller, but Spencer Rattler. I think he could keep the job.
He looked all right.
You know the underlying metrics do not look bad. Now, the problem that Spencer Rattler has is that he's Spencer Rattler. But on top of that, they're going to have, I think currently I looked at Tankathon earlier today. I think they're drafting 5th. 5th in the league. This offense has been very feisty. And we're going to have a full season of Spencer Rattler. The problem is that from a dynasty perspective, I kind of want to tell these people to go get some cheap Spencer Rattler, but I can't. If the Saints were winning, if they were like 3-3 on the season, and like every game they won pushed that first round draft pick down and made it less likely for them to take a quarterback of the future, then I would say go get Spencer Rattler. But he's not. They're going to finish 3-13, 3-14 now, the 17th game. They're not going to be very good. They're going to be fun. I want to tell you to go get him, but I can't. I'm getting out of the Spencer Rattler business, and I don't think Alvin Kamara is getting traded. He has got some weird OCD thing that he does not want to leave New Orleans, and he's made it known. He's a creature of habit. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. But what do you think about Spencer Rattler, Jer?
Nah, I don't know if I have any Spencer Rattler. He's just not.
I've got a little bit, and it's been like it's like putting on your winter jacket. Here in the Midwest, Iowa, Indiana, it's cold. You go to put on that jacket you haven't worn since like last spring. You reach your hand in the pocket, and you find that $20 bill. That's Spencer Rattler. He's found money in a pocket that
you didn't know existed.
You forgot all about. You want to hang on to it because you're so happy you have it. But no, man, if you got maybe the Joe Burrow person isn't quite ready to make David Galtieri's trade and go get Jackson Dart, but he's itching because he wants to contend or she wants to contend. Go see if they want to give you a second for Spencer Rattler. Or again, if you can pull the Memphis special, send them any second and Spencer Rattler for their first. Even if it's a contender's first, I do not care. But Spencer Rattler's playing okay, Jerry. I mean,
he's fine.
Nothing. Nothing special.
When you need to plug him into your super flex spot because you got other issues going on, like it's fine. And if he sits there at QB3, that's fine too.
You know what's funny is he's not scored less than 11 points in a game. He's had a spike week of 25 points. and on the season has more points than Bryce Young and Tua. And on a game-to-game basis, he's averaging about 2 points less a game than C.J. Stroud and about 1.5 a game less than Kyler Murray. And I'm not saying go get Spencer Rattler for one of those guys. I'm just saying sometimes scoring points matters. And if you want to score points and your roster is not good, you might want to check out Flex 6.
I know your sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops. Because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun. And as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
You can call me a kiss ass all you want. Nothing makes me smile more than when he does a big woo. I do it, literally do it, because like it silences our mics when we go to a commercial. But I literally do that with him because I find it to be so hilarious. All right, we got about 20 minutes left. Let's rock this out. This game shouldn't take too damn long. Titans Raiders. Woof.
Poop.
You know what?
Titans are poop.
I mean, I'll give you a
Raiders are
second. I'll give you a second. It still cracks me up that the Raiders said they weren't interested in Sam Darnold and had to have Tom Brady.
Whoops.
I mean, Geno Smith.
Geno. Yeah, Geno's cooked. Everyone on that team's cooked. Michael Mayer had a good showing with Brock Bowers out. That's cool. I mean, the only person you can even talk about in this game is Ashton Genty because he got so much of the workload. But, dude, help us out. Like, if I told you that Ashton Genty got 23 rushes and he had 2 receptions, I need more. I need more than 75 rushing yards. He got the tutty, which is fine.
Yeah,
he's been fine.
He bailed you out with the tutty. Yeah, he bailed you out with the tutty.
He's been good. He's the new version of Josh Jacobs, which is fine, which is good.
I think that's a slap in the face of Josh Jacobs.
I agree. It sort of is, but I'm just saying that because they played on the same team, and Josh Jacobs was a 101 rookie running back, and then he sort of got hated when he wasn't blowing. Cut that. When he wasn't blowing up immediately.
I'm not cutting that. I'm marking the time cue so I can push it over to Nick, our producer, so he can clip that. You cut it. Hell out of here. No, this is the classic example, and I love it when like it wants me to, when things force me to start thinking about creating something new. And like I said, I'm going to look at this would have been like a very low score on what I'm going to call the situation score when we do rookies. This is nothing about Ashton Genty. If you were to rank situations like last year when Bo Nix went to Denver, I would have given that a very high situation score because the situation's great. You get Sean Payton, a known commodity with helping quarterbacks. And I would have given Ashton Genty a low situation score. Poor organization. No business drafting a running back that early. Not to say that he wasn't worth it. That's not the conversation we're having. No offensive line. There was a poor situation for a guy of his talent. You would have loved for him to have fell to the Chargers or the Broncos or someone else. But the Raiders going to Raider. And unfortunately, we as Dynasty gamers have to do that. I still think he's good. I will sit down. I will tell you this. Write this down. He will be somewhere in the top 5 of my running back rankings. I don't know that he'll be higher than 5.
Yeah.
I'm really, because I've got to hold the situation against him. It's not a talent thing, but I don't think like a Bijan Robinson. Like you could put Bijan Robinson on the worst team in the league, the Titans, and he would still ball. Bijan Robinson on the Raiders would crush it because he is that talented. I don't think Ashton Genty is so talented that he can overcome the Raiders. So he's always going to be an RB1. It's just not going to be like in that top 3 range. Things could change.
Value and volume, buddy.
But hey, you know what? And they said they want to start getting him 20 touches a game. Let's hope they tell the truth. But remember my motto, I will tell you the truth one time. I will lie to you. Browns Steelers. Another stinker.
Yeah.
An absolute stinker. I love Quinshawn Judkins, but this is what happens when you're not overly involved in the passing game as a running back. When you're not heavily involved, and I don't want to go as far as to call him touchdown dependent, but he is very game script dependent with Cleveland. And when they get behind and they're passing a bunch and he's not overly involved in the passing game, you're going to have weeks like this. Now, I know since he came back from, I won't call it a suspension. I'll call it a holdout, an extended holdout on that contract. He's been wonderful. I would say right now, out of this RB class of rookies, maybe RB2 in the class. Like if we were to redraft him today, Jerry, like where would you put him among running backs? I mean, he got 2, 3. The lowest you can go is 3.
Yeah, I would still do 2 probably.
I mean, it's the big riser has got to be Cam Scatterbo.
Cam. Yeah.
And then Judkins is right there with him. And then Travion Henderson's got to be the big faller in the class. But maybe that's something we'll do a little bit later in the season. We can do a rookie class redraft. But yeah, I like Judkins quite a bit. I think he's a stone cold buy. What you want with Judkins is you want him to put 3 bad games together in a row and go out
which is a weird thing to ask for, but you are correct.
It's 100% possible. Have you met the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah.
You know what the shame about the Cleveland Browns, they kind of remind me of like me and my wife. You know, they have this really hot, sexy defense. Like my wife is really hot and sexy, and somehow she's saddled with me. And somehow this hot and sexy Cleveland defense is saddled with that offensive side of the ball. Doesn't mean you can't make it work, but doesn't mean it's ideal. Doesn't mean it's ideal.
Listen, Dylan Gabriel, you're doing all right. Don't worry about it.
Hey, dude, at this point, we're 3 bad games of Dylan Gabriel. And I tell you, I don't want to extend the show too long, but my old pal Izzy Elkafas of the Dynasty Trade Calculator, we're in a league together, 14-team, super flex. I've got Shedeur Sanders. Picked him up in the 3rd round of a 14-team industry Superflex league. All of a sudden, I got a trade offer the other day of Dylan Gabriel and a 3rd for Shedeur Sanders in a 2nd. And I was like, what does Izzy know? Izzy's been doing this as long as we have. It's like, what does Izzy know? Now, Izzy lives in Minnesota. Had it been Rich Dotson, who's, Cleveland guy, I'd been more skeptical. But I'm like, I don't need a quarterback in this league. I'm like 3-3. I've got Daniel Jones, shocker. I've got Sam Darnold, shocker. I've got Jared Goff. So I'm good quarterback-wise in this league. Quarterback rich. So something was afoot. But anyway, 49ers, Buccaneers. Is now a good time with Ibuka being hurt, the time to go get him?
I don't think you can. I think the fire on that is just too hot right now. I understand why you would want to, because I do think he is one of the top probably 8 guys at the position. I think the biggest thing that I have from this game, Randy, is that this is a person that I have tried to minimize for a long time because he's had the injuries, and I have always talked up Derrick Henry and sort of poo-pooed Christian McCaffrey. But we're to the point where this guy was in the same draft class as Leonard Fournette, who's out of the league, Joe Mixon, who's maybe going to play, probably not. He's fallen off the face of the earth. Dalvin Cook was in that class. James Conner's out. Alvin Kamara's slipping. And Christian McCaffrey's out here like
Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones.
He's Christian McCaffrey has, I don't know, like 40 catches or something. Maybe more. I don't have it off the top of my head. That's just me guessing from the leagues that I have him in. Dude's been awesome. Dude's been that whole team. Like, I'm going to butcher this guy's name because I don't know how to say it, but Jake Tonges, the tight end who's replacing George Kittle, like, you got guys like that coming in, getting big-time reps. Demarcus Robinson.
46 catches.
Yeah.
He's averaging about 10 yards a catch.
Awesome. Like, dude's awesome.
He's averaging.
This was his first rushing touchdown was this week, too.
What do you think his career, not his career, his season high in rushing is?
Are you setting me up for a low number?
I'm asking you a question.
I will say 1,100 yards.
No. For one game this year, he's
Oh,
played.
oh, oh,
So
oh,
what's he
oh,
rush?
oh.
What's he rushed for? It was his high in one of the first 6 games of the 2025 season.
91.
69. Nice.
Woo.
69 yards week 1 was his high. 55, 52, 49, 57, 44. But here are his receiving numbers: 73, 52, 88, 92, 82, 57. If it's Matt Babbage. Find him on Twitter X. He's a player profiler guy. Love Matt. Used to host the Dynasty Roundtable with Seth Dywald. Great show, by the way. He posted, I think it was something like wide receiver 7. If you just took Christian McCaffrey's wide receiving stats, he would be a wide receiver 7. He will be 30 next year. This is what he does. Remember,
I don't care.
He plays a full season, gets injured, plays a full season.
True. This is one of those situations where if I can win the money, I'll lose the value. There's a time and a place.
100%.
And that's one of those dudes where I will lose the trade to win the money.
I first of all, I coined that phrase. Make sure it's copyright, trademark, Circle C, copy of me. Lose trades to win leagues. But if I'm doing that with Christian McCaffrey, given all what's going on with the 49ers and the injuries around this team, I'm not doing it to my league's trade deadline. If your league's doesn't have a trade deadline, then I'm doing it week 12, 13, somewhere around Thanksgiving, because I'm not going to give up even a contender's first, have this guy get injured again, and then be left holding an injured running back in my dick in the other hand, and then be asked out. I've got Bengals Packers. I don't have a whole lot. I will just say this, and I will keep this game very short. Tucker Kraft, tight end 4. Tucker Kraft, tight end 4 in Dynasty. As my old baseball coach used to say, it's that simple, fellas. It's that simple. I will not spoil the rankings until next week. This dude is George Kittle reincarnated. George Kittle's not dead, so that would be hard. but he is George Kittle 2.0. I love the dude. Absolute dog. I think there's a tier break, and we'll talk more about this next week. But yeah, dude, Tucker Kraft is that guy. You have anything, and then you have somehow you have the Lions again. Somehow I got the Colts, you got the Lions. It wasn't like this was planned, but that's just kind of how it broke.
No, Tucker Kraft is good. I got nothing to add to that. Nor should anybody, and nor should anybody refute that, because that would be horse crap if they did. Lions, Chiefs. Not going to talk about the game outside of saying Chiefs played perfect, and that sucked. Did not enjoy watching it.
Sir, you cannot win a football game 17-11. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is a Titleist hat, not a tinfoil hat. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but their left tackle lines up offsides every play. Juju Smith-Schuster blasted Brian Branch in the back. There was penalty, and as Mark Schlereth says, and he's not wrong, you can call holding on every play. How did the Chiefs? You know what the NFL couldn't afford? Now, this is going to become a tinfoil hat, and I will go long for this. Do you think the NFL wants the Chiefs to go 2-4 and be close? Because you know what? The Jaguars are 4-2. The Colts are 5-1. Houston can still, be in the mix in that division. You've got the Chargers. You got the Broncos. Do you think the NFL wants? And I feel like the NBA conspiracy theorists back in the day. The Ravens are already 1-5, and the playoffs are super tough. Do you think the NFL wants Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson not in the playoffs? You think they want to go into the playoffs looking at Daniel Jones and Bo Nix as opposed to Patrick Mahomes? Sorry, they not to go off on a tirade. They didn't play a perfect game. The Detroit Lions got fizzucked, but I'll let you go on about your dynasty take.
Listen, there was shenanigans. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not a person that blames the refs. I do think Jared Goff should have caught that touchdown. I thought that was horse crap. But
You know what was horse
as
crap? Now, hold on. This is your fault because you got me going. You know
yeah,
what was horse
all
crap
right.
about that? They called it a touchdown. It's a
Yeah.
non-reviewable play, and yet somehow they
No
magically
flag. No flag on
no
the field.
flag.
Also, got
Some
called down from New York.
you can't do that. All right, anyway, so please go on something about Dynasty before I lose my shit.
Okay, nothing to see here for the Detroit Lions. The one thing I will take away from this game is the person who was not in it, and that is Rashee Rice is back. And, you know, the Podfather always does those little short videos where he does the love-hate sort of thing, where he has like the sparkly eyes and he talks about everything that's good with a player, and then he's got like the devil horns and talks about everything that's bad with him. And that's where I'm at with Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, everybody is freaking out about him, and they're thrilled for him to be back. But here's the thing. We have seen, this is year 3 of Rashee Rice, and we've seen like 12 games. And he was very good last year before he got hurt, and then before he had to deal with his shenanigans in those first 4 games. But we didn't see him the last, 12, 13, 16 games, counting the playoffs last year. And then we haven't seen him in the first 6 games of this year. And that, so he is an unknown in that aspect. But also, this offense, they have so many speedsters. Tyquan Thornton, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. You have to call that deep zone shell defense to keep everybody in front of you. And every single time that's going to happen, Rashee Rice is going to be right there in the gap. Beep, beep, beep. First down catches. The points per first down. God, hard for me to say. Points per first down league. Goodness gracious. Had a stroke, I think. He is going to absolutely go bananas. We saw Travis Kelce go 7 yards up the field slower than I do going up the stairs. Turn around, catch it over and over and over and over again, because you just have to defend those sub 4-4 guys, and in some case sub 4-3 guys on the outside. And when it's actually Rashee Rice, who looks like he's an NFL athlete, unlike Travis Kelce at this point, he's a technician. He can get open. He can get the catches. It's wonderful. Rashee Rice is a real wide receiver who's going to be able to just eat and feast with those shell coverages. Randy, the man is about to
You
set
messed
the world
up.
on fire.
I, first of all, Jerry was like a bit of a dated reference, but I guess they're coming back like CDs and DVDs. Jerry had a skip in him there for a second. Do forgive him. Yeah, you messed up. If you didn't get Rashee Rice in the first 6 weeks, you're not getting him now.
No.
And you know, here's the thing. It's not like he was injured. You know, you get CD Lamb back, he's coming back off injury. You get Puka back, he's coming back off injury. Getting a guy off a suspension, he's a dumbass. But you know, maybe you're in a points per dumbass league. And I'm gonna tell you right now, don't be a dumbass. I got the Bills. So they had 2 Monday night games. We have that again this week. 2 Monday night games. I got Bills and Falcons. Go get Drake May. Might be hard now, because he came out there and he whipped out his sack and he clubbed the Bills over the head with it. 10 catches, 158 yards on 16 targets, Jerry. 16 targets. 2 games in a row, over 100 yards. 2 games in a row, over 10 targets. And he was banged up. Against the Commanders, before the bye, he had the shoulder issue. Dude, he is back. I've got player profiler rankings pulled up right now. He is listed as the wide receiver 10. I think that is too low. I'm still taking him over Rome Odunze. I'm still taking him over, although it's close. We'll do wide receivers in a couple of weeks. There's a big knot of guys there with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rome Odunze, Egbuka, Drake London, Brian Thomas. I think Drake London's the tallest guy of that group. And it's volume. Dome. Plays New Orleans in a dome. Plays Tampa Bay in good weather most of the time. Carolina, good weather. I love this. Drake London is an absolute stud. I think he's closer to the top of that tier then toward the bottom of that tier. And as I said a couple of shows ago, if you can get Drake London straight up for Brian Thomas Jr., sold. Like, Jerry, did you ever have that pain in the ass, like, family member that, like, they would drop them off at your house? Maybe you could have been this family member.
I was this person.
They have to drop them off at your house, and they would drop off like a nice bundt cake or some donuts or something. It's like, oh, hey, here's Jerry, and some cake, If I have to give you some cake with Brian Thomas Jr. to get Drake London, I'll drop I'll drop a box of donuts. I'll drop a second on you to get out of the Brian Thomas Jr. business and to get in the Drake London business, Jerry. You have the last game. What game was that? Oh, yes, that was, in fact, the Bears and the Commanders. Can't wait to see what you go.
Let creepy Uncle Jerry with his bundt cake walk you into this next game. Here's where I'm at. Randy, Ben Johnson's starting to put things together. Caleb Williams starting to look good, right? We're seeing consistency. We're seeing everything we want. Not setting the world on fire. Never going to set the world on fire. You just have to understand that and just take it for what it's worth. But Caleb Williams is a QB1 in Dynasty. He is. He's never going to be sexy. At the end of the year, you're going to look at it and see it. And if you had him, you're going to wonder how. But there's going to be a couple of those games that are just going to carry him and a couple of games that are a struggle. The other thing from them, Luther Burden's starting to show up. He's creeping. So if you want to take a shot, now's going to be your shot. DJ Moore, out. Rome Odunze's been catching a lot of touchdowns. Hasn't been doing a whole lot else. And I'm not saying that Luther Burden is going to take over Rome Odunze's spot. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But I'm saying Luther Burden is very cheap right now. Almost forgotten about. Take your shot. And I must always speak on Bill because I was such an open hater of Bill. Still not doing awesome. Still not catching passes, but he's getting the work. He's still worth a second, like I told you he was 2 months ago. Nothing has actually changed. He has no long-term value. He is still absolutely a sell. He's not helping you if he's on your team. You are not a contender with Bill. If you are, correct me. Jerry Sin DWZ on Twitter. Put it in the comments on YouTube. Let me see your roster. Because I don't believe you. Because he has just not been it.
Let me ask you a question. How many games has Bill had more than 10 PPR points? He's played 6, no bye week. How many games has he been over 10?
3.
That is correct. He had 14 in week 1, fell in the end zone. He had 10.1 in week 3, bailed out by the end zone. He had the monster game against the Chargers, and I didn't want to needle Theo because I'm still friends with Theo, and I'd like to have him on. He posted some, oh, this is what happens when you faced Bill Twitter post the other day. I'm like, really? Because I didn't notice the follow-up when he had, let's see here, 61 yards, 1 catch. Oh, and he had a fumble, 5.8. He's a much lesser degree Quinshon Judkins. He's a guy that if he doesn't fall in the end zone, he doesn't score double-digit points. He cannot sustain, whereas like a guy, like I mentioned earlier, Breece Hall, he's averaging double digits in every single game, averaging 12 points, again, not setting the world on fire, without getting in the end zone. That's when a guy shows you his value at the running back position. When he can give you 12, this is what I've always said about Alvin Kamara. He can give you 12, 15 points a game and never step foot in the end zone. That guy, when he does fall in the end zone, then all of a sudden he becomes a difference maker. Yeah, I'm not Team Bill. As far as the Bears, I continue to say this. Can we not move Drake May? I'm sure not Drake May. No one's moving Drake May. Patriots aren't moving Drake May. You're not moving. Can we not move DJ Moore? Can we not just move DJ Moore? I know the Bears are now 3-2. They have a winning record, but it's like if you're not using him, move on.
Yeah.
Let him go. He's got it for a veteran wide receiver on an extension. He's got a very tradable contract. You know, a team like Buffalo would be interested. There would be a lot of teams interested. You could start giving Luther Burden more reps. You could start moving again. And I saw your sigh when I mentioned Colston Loveland earlier.
No.
It's like why invest the 10th overall pick in a guy and just not use him?
I actually forgot about him. I wanted to rant about him.
I mean,
because what's his name? Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles, right?
Yeah. Well, Ben Johnson's partially to blame as well.
Sure. But goodness gracious, we're talking about Tyler Warren that is averaging what Colston Loveland has total on the season. What Tyler Warren is doing each game is what Colston Loveland has done through the first 6 games. Are they that vastly different? I don't really think so. Is he not grasping the offense? Does he just not understand the playbook? Like, it has to be something, because we're not even seeing opportunities, which makes me think he just, I don't know. He's not treating it like it's a job. I don't know. Am I taking a shot at a Wolverine who once said, little brother gonna do little brother things? Maybe I am. But right now, you're Tyler Warren's little brother, because he is absolutely smacking you around in this tight end class.
You know, this is what happens when I knew the fabled class. Do you remember the fabled tight end class of 2017? Do you remember names like O.J. Howard? Do you remember names like Evan Ingram, David Njoku? Now, sometimes guys pop early. Evan Ingram had a great rookie season. Sometimes they take 5 or 6 years to have that breakout season. David Njoku. Yeah. You know, if you can move Colston Loveland and get like a guy that's actually scoring fantasy points like Hunter Henry, like send Colston Loveland in a third for Hunter Henry in a first.
Bro,
tight end premium league.
Send Colston Loveland and try and get Aronde Gadsden in some juice.
I will tell you, it will take much more than a bunt cake to get Colston Loveland moved to my team. Guys, that's the show, but we will be back next week with rankings, Jerry. You probably didn't know I was going to give you homework when you popped on today, but I am. You're going to have to do some homework. So we can both have input and we can argue, because people like it when we argue. Let's do quarterbacks, and then I'll say quarterbacks, and you can pick the other position. Now, you can be super boring and say quarterbacks, running backs, because I want to do pass catchers together. That's fine. But we're going to do quarterbacks and what for next week's show?
We'll do wide receivers, since you already mocked me.
Good. It's an old habit, like breathing. But anyway, we will be back. We'll be back doing another show next week. Have my boy Jerry ready to rock. Love rankings. Absolutely love rankings. So we're going to do, he said, quarterback, wide receiver. And then the following week, we'll do running backs and tight ends. We'll give you our top 10.
You want to do top 10?
Top 10.
Okay.
We're going to do top 10. I appreciate Jerry holding his trophy. I'm glad I said trophy. I appreciate him wearing an Indiana Hoosiers t-shirt.
Listen, they play Michigan State this week too, so I need them to beat them by 70 so I can get Jonathan Smith the hell out of East Lansing.
I can't figure out why Michigan. You know what's weird is that when I was a kid growing up, Michigan State was good at football, bad at basketball, and Indiana was good at basketball and bad at football. And somewhere over those times they be a changing. But we're going to change pace next week. We're going to change from reviewing each game, and we're going to shift into some rankings. We hope you join us. We'll be live on YouTube. You'll get the podcast very soon. That man's name's Jerry Sinclair. You can follow him at JerrySinDWZ. You can follow me at DWZ Memphis. And remember, we're just trying to make the world a better place for fantasy football. See you next week.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon. From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.